All Three Beards Media podcasts originate from the Gravitate Co-working Studio, sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company.
Drop it.
Welcome back to another edition of the Ball Don't Lie podcast. I'm Ted Hawley, joined here as always with Justin Smool, and we are brought to you by the Gravitate Co-working Studio and Revelton Distilling Company. We are here with season 4, episode 13 already. We're in week 14 of the NFL season. We wrapped up conference championship week last week in college football. Smool, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, dude. Just the championship week. We could talk on that, I guess. Another
chaos.
Yeah, another team that any team that good old Ferentz faces with a pulse, he scores 0.
It's crazy. We need a safety. We need a safety from Michigan to get our team total on them. That's the only thing that sucked there.
You know, it's such a shame. I mean, as much as I do bash him, at the end of, like, I was talking to this couple other guys, and I give him all the credit in the world for winning a lot of close games and everything like that, because there is something to be said about that. But when you throw away defenses like that they've had because you're so inept on offense, that's a problem. And both can be true.
I mean, and that is the case here. Is you have had. Here's, like you said, though, 10 wins is probably 10 wins. It's just, you just don't know. If you just would have had a mediocre offense with that defense,
right,
you might be able to compete in games like this.
Yeah, you can go pull the upset, because if that's the thing, if you're just above average to average, like a few games you're going to click, right, when that happens, and you're going to score some points or bust one loose, and they have zero capability.
Well, these teams prep differently too, because they know they don't have to. Like, there's no reason for them to fourth and short at midfield. There's no reason for them to try to go for it. Why would they?
Right.
I mean, they're going to pin it down there and they'll just get their field position right back. I mean, the biggest part about that, it's not even just that they're not scoring. They're not getting first downs. They didn't get first downs. I mean, they led the nation in 3 and outs. I'm pretty sure I heard that stat correctly.
Yeah, they had almost 1,100 more yards punting than they did total yards. Yeah,
that's a stat.
Yeah, that's and not a good one.
Well, we'll recap a little bit. Last week, I went 3-5 to end my season in abysmal, I think 29, 40-1. And you went 0-4 last week to still stay above 500, 40-38 finish. It was weird. It was kind of a weird weekend.
Yeah.
Man, I feel bad for Florida State. Like, I can see both sides of this argument, but man, it's really tough to if the reason I don't agree with it is if the quarterback thing was a thing, why were they ahead a week earlier?
Bingo.
If that was a thing,
correct.
Then why were they ahead of Bama them the week before? They shouldn't have been. It should have been taken into account, and it should have been that way already.
Yeah, it's funny. You and I haven't even talked about this, but that is exactly to a T what I've said to everybody else too. It wasn't breaking news that Bama was better in Florida State.
No, and I'm not even really mad with the decision. I'm just like, it doesn't make any. You guys are only hurting yourselves by this process you're doing.
Correct.
You're using 2 different criteria week to week.
Right.
So basically, the criteria you use the whole season
doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't matter. And you're not going to convince me otherwise either that if Georgia would have won, that Texas would have got left out maybe instead.
Oh, I think that was a real possibility. Yeah,
maybe not, and maybe that's just how they saw this whole thing going.
Well, essentially more or less the rankings mean nothing. right, at the end of the day, because they don't abide by him. So, like, why was Ohio State even at 6 last week then? Like, why if Florida State didn't have a shot, which obviously they didn't, then throw them back at 10. Who cares where they are? Just don't make him even give them a shot, right? Because at least they know in their minds that this game means nothing.
It's just, man, with this setup to have a undefeated season in a Power 5 there not get in. And it's not like there was 5 undefeated teams either.
No.
I mean, that's not what happened.
No.
So
yeah, I mean, we see it the exact same way. I mean, you know what? We know Bama's better. Yes, but that's not the point. The point is why they were better 2 weeks ago. Why weren't they ranked ahead of them?
Yeah, that was my only issue with that too, is that you have to keep your same criteria going forward, because quite frankly, they told on themselves too, because you didn't know who was going to play at quarterback the week before, so they had to put their third-string quarterback. It's a concussion protocol thing,
right?
You're going to get that guy back that had him ranked ahead of Bama. So it's just, I don't know. It's really,
I don't like it.
That's what I didn't like either.
Next year will be fun.
Unfortunately, I'm looking forward to the 12-team deal for sure. And you and I briefly talked the other day too. Is like, we talked about we're going to pick some bowl games moving forward and stuff like that in the show, and we probably can, or we'll talk about it. But you don't even know who's on whose roster anymore, who's going to play. They're so hard to do, and they're so meaningless now that screw the 12. Give the 12 teams, give like a stack and buys. Like if you're the top 4, you get 4 buys. Bring the 32 teams into it. Have all these bowl games be these lead-up playoff games, and every week really, you're going to watch and care then. Yeah,
for sure.
You advance and care, and you get hot, do whatever, but let these top 4 teams have their month off like they do anyway. And they sit there and let everybody else beat up on each other and come play you. And the 12, they get buys too. Like, make it weird and do it that way. And it would be way more entertaining television. You can still incorporate all these bowls the same way. They can play those matchups, those places.
Yep. Yeah, they have to do it. They have to do something, right? Because they are not what they used to be.
They used to be. Bowl season used to be so fun to watch. And look, I'll still watch the games, but it's just like I'm not really gonna bet them.
No, and I don't too. I truthfully don't tune in until like I'll get in the confidence points pool because just because I think it's fun. Yeah, and it's a degenerate thing to do, right? So whatever.
I mean, it's.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's unfortunate.
I still don't watch it to the degree I should, and like back then, man, I was pumped to watch like the Bahamas Bowl or something stupid. Like,
well, just get into a bowl game. Well, especially there used to be less of them. Like I remember being a kid, late 90s, even early 2000s. It was just harder to get into a bowl.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's look. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure who's going to win. That Texas Washington is going to be interesting to me.
Both should be good games, though. At least.
How pissed is Michigan though? That you could tell on their faces when they got Bama. It was like, ooh.
Yeah, they weren't happy.
You might have the natty that game.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably. I don't know. I think Texas is actually sneaky. I hate to say that, but I actually think they're pretty. I think they're pretty solid.
I think Washington's winning that game.
Yeah, you like it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I got some time to think about it.
I like Penix.
Yeah, you're a bigger Penix guy than me.
I like him.
He's all right. Look, they came to play against Oregon though. That was entertaining. I didn't see that coming.
Impressive.
2-point dogs.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
I had Washington to cover, but I didn't think they're going to win.
No, right.
No.
Yeah.
All right, well, we can wrap that up there, and we can move on a little bit here too. We have a fun deal this weekend with the company. We have the event at Revelton Distilling this Saturday in Osceola. I think it's from 12 to 2. I think all the personnel is going to be there to do the show. Look, we're raising money for the Young Women's Resource Center. There's all kinds of auction items. It's going to be cool. I think there's a casino in that town, so I'm sure you and I are going to be impossible for us to make it out of there without a pit stop there. Right. But if you listen, stop in and see us. There's all kinds of cool stuff. Follow Three Beards Media. Chris and those guys have been doing a good job about posting all about this too, but there's all kinds of, I know we've donated some gift cards to the stuff too. So there's auctions and all kinds of cool stuff. And look, there's flyers out there, and I know Three Beards did a pretty good job of pushing all that information. I'm not sure what time we'll be going live there, but we're actually going to recap our Circa plays from Revelton there on Saturday. So that will be our version of I'm not sure how long we'll go or anything like that, but we'll be pretty quick, probably 15, 20 minutes, I'd guess. Right. But we'll talk about something different than we usually do. We kind of use the show here as our therapy session to see where we're going to make our joint picks for Circa. Right. So we'll actually recap them and on why we did what we did on Saturday. Yep. So that'll be kind of fun. And then we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll change our recording date moving forward too. So, we'll see about that too. But yeah, stop out and see us on Saturday. It's 12-2 out of Revelton Distilling Company in Osceola. It's going to be a good time. We got Drew Shipley chiming in here. The hypocrisy of the committee stance is that it's their job to put the best 4 teams in and then tell us 2-time defending champion, 29 in a row, Georgia number 6 after being 1 most of the year. Give me a break. Look, I actually agree with that too. So if you're going to put Bama in for that reason, Georgia's a top 4 team then too.
Yeah.
Give them a chance to defend. Look, that reasoning makes what they did made no sense.
No, and so here's the other thing. I think no one's actually talking about it either. I thought about this. I don't think Ohio State belongs. I truly don't believe it. But the thing is, they have a case. Their loss was at Michigan in a close game.
Sure.
It's the number 1 team in the country. They went down to the wire. Who's to say, right? That's an impressive loss.
It's just going to be way better when we have the 12.
It is.
It really is. And
all these teams, especially for it should have, if this was the year, it would have been great.
Yeah, well, and Iowa fans got mad at me for this, and it's actually not a knock to Iowa at all. It's Iowa State's going to have an easier path to get into this 12 than Iowa is year in, year out.
Yep.
The Big Ten is going to be brutal. That's going to be tough sledding. There's no divisions anymore. It's not a knock there. It's just that, look, yes, the Big 12 is going to be a lesser conference than the SEC and Big 10. That's absolutely a thing. The good part about them is they've established themselves as the 3rd best conference with the teams coming in. I don't think they're done yet either.
No.
I think with what just happened to Florida State, and Clemson sees that too.
Yeah, who's to say?
Big 12 TV contracts way better than the ACC is, and the ACC's locked in for a long time. They saw that just happen.
Yep.
Your Max should go out there and try to get both of them now.
Yeah.
Go get Clemson, go get Florida State, because for them too, why go into the SEC? I get it. The money reasons for that too.
Sure.
But if you want to make more money and be dominant, they can come in and be powerhouses in the Big 12 immediately. You're going to blend in the SEC.
Yep. Yeah.
Even the Big 10.
Right. Yeah. But you're right. Going back to the Big 10. I've been saying this all along props to Ferentz and stuff like this, but hey, Big 10 West goes away, man. You can't hide anymore. Iowa fans don't want to face the facts, but look, you're borderline all the time, regardless of how good your record is. You're borderline the top 4 to maybe 5th best team in the Big 10 all the time.
6-7 wins are going to be good seasons. You're going to have some good football teams that win 7 games now.
I agree. And the thing that I think is going to suck for them, truthfully, going forward, is if it does come crashing down and Ferentz does leave, that the next coach is just left with. He's set up for failure, man.
I don't know why Ferentz wouldn't leave on that note. You have every reason to right now. So, but we'll see. All right, that's enough college football there.
Yeah,
we've done that. Back to our Circa stuff a little bit. We'll recap that again on Saturday. We went 3-2 again last week. Look, the Browns ended up getting destroyed in the final score. They had the ball to chance to go down and win the game and Flacco had played pretty damn good football the entire game, and then goes back to old Smoking Joe bullshit again too, and throws a 50-50 ball on first down in the middle. It was horrible. It was a 500 ball. Just set high, threw it up in the air. They almost had a fair catch it before they caught it. It was in the air so long. It was on first. It might have been second down. I think it was first down though. It made no sense, and then it just kind of piled on from there.
It did, yeah. We were right there. We were there to have a real.
Shit, and the Titans were our other loss. That was even worse.
That was worse. That was back to back. I've never seen this I've probably seen it in my life, but back to back possessions, block punts. Think about that. Think about the last time you saw a block punt in the NFL.
What else happened in that game too? Something else happened too.
They had back to back block punts. One was returned for a touchdown.
And they had, there's 3 or 4 things that all had to happen for the Titans not to actually win that game. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. And freaking, that's what before with Carr. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I mean, we should have had a 4-1 at the worst, but winning week's good. But man, we were right
They
there.
are. We're just sitting there, one pick below that 60. We got to start racking off. Look, we've had a great season anyway.
Yeah,
but just to kind of get in that money, we got to start racking off some 4-1.
Yep, we need that. Yep, we need another 4-1
to close out the year. We had the Cardinals. We said it last week. The Cardinals were a top 3 play for me in the season. I had them hammered money line. I had them in everything, and they came out and did exactly what I thought they were going to do. It was the wrong team was favored there. They're 5.5 point dogs. That was an absolute layup. You just had to wait for it. That was the problem with me. I had them in teasers. I had them in everything, and with that delay in the game, I just had them like, come on, I need that money in my account to bet these afternoon games.
Right.
It took like 4 hours to finish.
It did.
The Packers again too. That's a good call by you, and it just missed for me last week. The Packers again too. They look pretty good. There's not a more improved football team besides maybe them in Denver in the last 4 to 6 weeks. They're going to make the playoffs with their schedule in this season too.
Probably, yeah. I would agree with that. Yep.
And then we got the Niners home. It smelled like a bad spot for Philly last week. It was. The Niners look really good right now. So 3-2, we'll take it. Our individual picks, I went 3. I added Dallas last week on Thursday, and they ended up not covering the 9. So I went 3-3, putting me at 37-30-2 on the season. You went 5-3 after a slow start, and you actually Derek Carr should have picked 6, or you would have covered the Saints game probably too. Yep. But you went 5-3 and putting me at 40-38-4 in the season, and again we went 3-2 in Circa, putting us at 38-27 on the season. Look, I looked at the card. I told you earlier today, I was like, I don't like very many games, but I have a bunch of plays. I still don't love a bunch of these, but I have a bunch of plays.
That's all right. It's always good.
I have 7 plays.
All right, good.
I don't like this week, so we'll see how that goes.
I might get there with you then.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I'll start us out then. Right. Actually, I'll talk about a game that just missed for me.
Okay.
Because I just can't put them on my card. The Patriots +6 tonight. I'm betting them at +6.
Are you?
And I'm also going to tease the clones in basketball with the Steelers money line. It's going to be brutal to watch tonight. So I'm going to have Iowa State probably on sound and just Thursday night football off to the side. But
yeah, this Thursday night game could get a little ugly.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. That's where I lean tonight, but it's going to miss the card. I was hoping maybe you had an opinion. Maybe we'd add it last minute, but
I don't. Typically my thought would be here. Tomlin off an ugly home loss, kind of the same role. It should be a little bounce back spot, but it's risky. I don't know. I don't have a great feel for this. I mean, it almost feels like the Patriots have just mailed it in to an extent. I never thought you'd see this with the Belichick.
Not good. It's definitely not good.
Not good at all. They are they're frustrating to watch if you're a Patriots fan, that's for sure.
Why don't you give me a play then?
Okay. I'm going to go with Tampa +2.5 at the Falcons. Actually, it might be lower in Circa. I should check that, but I think it's 2.5 maybe.
It's 2 on Circa.
2, okay. So we'll take it at 2. The thing, look, Art Smith here, my frustrations with what he did a few weeks ago, benching Ritter. I thought it was a stupid move. And I stand by it. I still think it was a dumb move. Last week,
I don't think Ritter's any good though.
No, I don't think he is either. He's not what I thought he was capable of. I thought he was capable of a little bit better than what he's shown for sure. But to Art Smith, he picks and chooses when he wants to use Bijan. It's the weirdest thing, most frustrating thing. It's like, dude, this guy's a freak on the field. What are you doing?
It drives we have a football chat group with Shane Finnegan, Tristan Monahan, Tristan's a huge Falcons fan, and then Danny Niehaus. And House has a bunch of shares of Bijan in his dynasty leagues. And he just hates Art Smith for that reason. He's like, it's almost like he wants to prove it's a coaching thing almost where he's like, I can prove I don't need him to do it. Like Tyler Algier had a great season last year. His yards per carry are trash.
Yep.
And he just doesn't use Bijan in the red zone, but he has a little bit lately. We'll see. But I'm staying away from that game completely.
Okay. I mean, so here I like the revenge spot. The Tampa blew it earlier against them this year. So
if Tampa wins this game, they're right back in the mix for the South. I mean, 8-9 might win it.
Yeah, and I wasn't impressed last week with Atlanta on the road at the Jets. That was pitiful. So I just think I think Atlanta here. It feels like this game should just be a pick 'em. So I'll take the 2, and I think Tampa wins it.
All right, I got a game that I added last minute, and we'll see how you feel about it because it went up. It went up above 7. I got the hook with it, and I liked it more. I'm taking the Rams on the road at Baltimore.
Okay. Yep.
Plus 7.5. They've been playing. You get 2 teams with them. It's hard to see. It looks like Stafford's maybe getting a little healthier.
Yep.
They're right in the playoff mix as well. I do think the Ravens are going to win, but the Ravens have been they've either kicked the crap out of some teams or they let teams hang around way too long.
Yep.
They're a frustrating team on that too. So with the 7.5, I'm just going to take the points to the Rams.
I actually like this. This one probably. I don't know if I'm going to add it or not. I do like this pick though. Baltimore is a lot like Jacksonville in the sense of when they're big favorite, you don't lay it with them. Yeah. They can blow teams out when they're that short favorite, but for whatever reason, I don't like them in this role. But I would lean that way with you also. I'm gonna lay it with the Browns -3. I really like it here against the Jags this week. They were going to make the card even before Lawrence went down. So I think it's a good spot. Again, I know it's probably irritating to go back to the well here with him, but I mean, Jacksonville, the defensive injuries are adding up here. They have a lot of injuries, period. Now you're starting Beathard on the road against that defense. I think it's a home run spot for Cleveland off back-to-back losses. A guy that's just not used to starting against this caliber of defense, I feel like he gives up a couple and the Browns just control the game on the ground. It just feels like honestly a pretty easy win. And if I was still, or if people are still alive and like survivors that you have to use, a team every week, a new one, I would say this one for me would be one I would consider if you haven't used the Browns yet.
The Jags were just missed for me at 3.
Oh, really? Dang it.
Like I have them on the card here of like with the question mark next to it. So I'll take them off the card because of your thing, but they're at 3.5 in circa too, and it's a just miss for me. I got to see what they do offensively, the Browns.
Yeah.
Lawrence's injury was gross, and McManus. I love McManus to death, but make the damn field goal and they still get that win there. That's what.
Right.
So, the Jags are just missed for me.
Okay.
Look, your reasoning makes sense. We'll see what kind of player CJ is because, look, he got a little bit of a shot with the Niners who had a pretty good roster then, but there's reasons or whatnot. But there's enough playmakers here still too.
He was.
He didn't look very. I mean, look, he didn't look very good coming in the game, but you can't really judge it by that. He's gonna have a week now.
Yeah.
To get prepped and ready. Peterson's a good coach too, so we'll see. But if he comes in and looks flat. And look, he's looked great in preseasons and places. That's why he's gotten his jobs. Yep. He hasn't looked that great in live action. He just hasn't. This is a playoff team he's playing on right now with weapons around it. Look, I know Kirk's out, but there's enough guys there still with Ingram and Ridley, and he's got a really good back. So we'll see how he plays, but it's just missed for me. Okay. I'm going to lay with the big number. I don't like doing it, but I think these guys want to boat race them early, maybe sit some people. If this got closer to 14 points, I probably wouldn't have played it, but I have the Niners at -10.5.
Okay.
I think they're maybe 11 on circa, but they're 10.5 everywhere else. Dude, Seattle is in some trouble right now.
Yeah.
We're probably getting more of what Geno really is like. He's not as bad as he's portrayed when he was with the Jets. He's not as good as he was last year with Seattle. What you're seeing now is probably more in line of what he truly is, I would say. So we'll do that. Why don't you get? So what do you think about the Niners there?
Yeah, I like the Niners too. If I had to play it, it's them or nothing. I mean, this is a rematch here. They played Thanksgiving. And the Niners had no trouble in Seattle in a night game. Tough environment. I just think ultimately it's a bad matchup.
Yeah.
And the Niners are one team as well that there's no foot off the pedal, right? It's hard to have letdowns with them. So I do like I like the Niners also.
So you're gonna put them on the card as well?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, let's. Why don't you give me one more play here, and then we'll go ahead and take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and we'll come back and finish our cards up.
All right. I am curious on your thoughts. Oh, I can't say. I don't even want to go there. Carolina plus 5.5. Like it might. Carr was limited. I don't know if he's playing.
I think Winston's playing.
And if it's Winston, I can't stand Bryce Young. Bryce Young hates me. Carolina hates me. They despise me. But like this Saints team shouldn't be laying a number to anybody. Dennis Allen is like the worst coach ever in the history of all-time football, laying more than a field goal. He's so bad against the number. Give me Carolina. They covered last week. They still played hard against Tampa, even though they lost. I'm gonna regret it, but
I got the Saints -5 on the card.
Okay, well then we won't be playing it. Perfect.
I think there you go. I actually like the thought of Jameis playing a little better because I mean, look, he's gonna give some away too, but so does Carr. But like, well, Jameis is all over the place. I'm like, so is Carr.
No,
Carr is the worst red zone quarterback ever. I'm like,
That's
he's
true.
a new life and spark there. I actually like Jameis playing a lot better than I like Carr with this roster. There's some rosters I would say no to, but they get so stagnant sometimes, and you cannot get stagnant with Jameis because he's going to let it freaking rip. If you're running a go route, you better be ready to get the ball, even if you're running the triple coverage, because it might be going up.
Right, yeah. He's not afraid to throw.
He is not. He's not afraid. He throws 3 picks, he'll come back and wing it again. He doesn't.
He's
not. He's that shooter. He's a bolt shooter.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
He gets all his shots up to get his yards. He's gonna let it rip. There's no such thing as taking a sack.
Yeah. He's 0 for 9. He's still shooting.
that thing's flying as soon as he crosses half court.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's the first parts of our cards there too. So before we come back and finish what we got here, why don't we go ahead and hear from a word from our sponsors at Gravitate Co-working Studios and Revelton Distilling Company.
Why take the best corn in the world and make it into fuel when you could make it into whiskey? That's the question that launched Revelton, Iowa's most visible and fastest growing distillery. Owners Rob and Christy Taylor embrace the grain-to-glass philosophy, sourcing ingredients locally and overseeing on-premises production and bottling at their facility in Osceola. One sip and you'll agree that Revelton's handcrafted whiskeys, gins, and vodkas are the best you've ever tasted. And with the launch of their rye whiskey, made with 100% Iowa-grown rye and corn, and their new bourbon coming soon, there's more Revelton to love than ever. Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. The great thing about working from home is working from home. The worst thing is working from home, especially for face-to-face collaborations with customers and coworkers. And let's face it, coffee shop meetings are neither private nor professional. So skip the trip to Starbs and investigate Gravitate Co-working Space. For more than 10 years, Gravitate has provided large and small office and conference spaces perfect for hosting meetings, workshops, or other events, as well as private phone booths for confidential conversations. Plus, all spaces include secure fiber internet, free coffee, and access to a kitchenette. All you need is your laptop. Gravitate does the rest. And renting space at Gravitate is surprisingly affordable. An hour of office space costs about the same as venti caramel macchiatos and breakfast sandwiches for 2. Daily and monthly rates are also available with no long-term commitment. Learn more at gravitatecoworking.com. That's gravitatecoworking.com.
Welcome back to the Ball Don't Lie podcast. I'm Ted Hawley, joined here as always with Justin Smool. Thanks again to Chris Spaghetti, our producer in the background here. Again, we're looking forward to this weekend with our Three Beards family. It starts at 12 o'clock at Revelton Distilling Company in Osceola. Come out and see us. We'll shoot the shit. If you got any questions about some games this weekend, we'll let you know. And we're going to recap all our circa plays because it looks like we might have some work to do because we already disagreed a couple times this week. So sometimes before we get our picks in on Friday night, it takes a little bit. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to it. And again, I'm sure that casino will get hit in the way back home too.
Yeah,
of course. But just to recap the plays we have so far, I have myself with the Rams plus 7.5, Niners minus 10.5, and the Saints minus 5, and have you Tampa plus 2, Browns minus 3, the Niners minus 10.5 as well, and Panthers plus 5.5. Why don't you go ahead and give me another play?
All right, I'm taking one here. I am shocked at this line, and I generally don't play my team. You're probably against me here. I don't play my team often, but I really like the spot here for the Raiders getting 3. I mean, this line doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. In fact, I feel like this is a pick 'em or Raiders -1. If you just go back a little bit ago before the Packers, which you've alluded to is one of the hottest teams. I mean, the Raiders were favored over that team. And that was a really bad Raider team then. I mean, this team, since the firing of the coach, they have improved. They're off the bye week. Both teams are off a bye week. But I tell you what, the Dobbs situation for me here, we've seen him regress. It was
I'm not even sure if you've seen him regress as much as you just seen who he is.
It was a needle in the haystack that went into Atlanta, right? And it kind of rejuvenated them. But look at just the last couple outings, man. The Bears on the prime time, that was a pathetic loss. I think Minnesota's just getting respect because Jefferson returning. We don't even know how many snaps he's going to play.
And that's it.
And the Raiders defense is much improved the second half of the season. It really is. So I think the wrong team's favored. I really like it's probably one of my one of my favorite probably top 2 favorite play of the week, +3.
The stay away reason for me here is Jefferson, who you talked about a little bit. I do think Nick Mullins is going to be on deck, ready to. I mean, if it starts slow there too, I think he's back now. I think he's been activated. Okay. Jefferson is an absolute game changer. He's one of those 3-4 guys that aren't quarterbacks that, if they're playing or not playing, they're completely different teams. It just depends what kind of workload he has. If they held him out long enough and he's ready to go, like that is a big deal.
It is.
It puts so much pressure on a defense, and we'll just see. We'll see. But the only reason to stay away here for me is Jefferson. But again, if he comes back and if he's on a snap or a snap count, I kind of agree with what you're saying here. So it was a miss for me, but we'll see. I can maybe be talking to your side.
Okay. Fair.
Look, this is one of my favorite plays. And it shouldn't be because they've been so wishy-washy, but dude, I just think there's just something off with the Chiefs right now.
Ooh, I knew you were going here. I knew it.
I'm taking the Bills +1.5. It's one of my favorite plays this weekend. It's a must win again too for Josh Allen and those guys. And there's enough talent that look, the line's telling you what's going on here. When's the last time the Chiefs were a 1-point favorite? A 1-point favorite.
Not at home.
At home.
Not at home.
In the Mahomes era, to a 500 football team.
Yep.
It's telling you what's going on here. Yep. Vegas is trying to tell you. And the line hasn't really moved. I thought maybe some people, and it hasn't. So it's where it needs to be. I love the Bills.
All right. Yeah. I consider this will be play 1 official for us. Yeah. I had a buddy tell me earlier in the week that he loved this too. And at first glance, I was like, damn, man, I don't know. Like, I was like, man, it felt like a little buy low spot, right? Because you're getting Mahomes off the loss. You're getting, Andy Reid off the loss coming home. But it's all the points you mentioned, man. Like, Vegas don't give away free money.
No, they do not.
And like, this is that situation, right? And the way the Bills offense is structured, it will cause problems for the Chiefs defense. And I think also, to your point, the desperate measures, right? This is the Bill season, point blank, period. It's their season.
And look, and you get back to we'll just put them at 7-6. They're coming off a bye. They've had a lot of time to get ready for them too. And getting to 7-6 with all these injuries to these teams that are just above them. I mean, look, the Browns, the Steelers, all these teams have injuries now. If the Bills can somehow send their way back in the playoffs here, I mean, you don't want to play them.
No.
In the playoffs.
Nope. Nope. All right.
Yeah, I love the Bills.
I like it.
All right. We tend to stay away from the biggest games of the year, but we didn't last week and it worked out. And maybe I'm just picking at the fur a little too much here, but I just think Philly they just need a break. Like, it's just I think they'll be fine once they get to the playoff stuff too. This is not just a kink in the armor deal. It's just that their schedule is so backloaded with teams, and they've had Dallas's number for a long time. But Dak did play well against them earlier this year too. And again, I think the line's telling you a little bit here. The fact that it's actually 3.5 and not 3 or 2.5, or maybe you thought it would be at with Dallas being favorite. I'm taking Dallas Cowboys minus 3.5 in this game. I expect them to win by a touchdown. I think they're actually come out and win this game. And it is what it is. It's not. I do not hate the Eagles. It's not what it is. But them on the back end, slaying all those guys, they're just not as good as they used to be. They're not as good from linebacker to the back end. They're not as good as they were last year. And the Cowboys can put pressure on you back there.
Yep. Yeah, I lean this way too. We'll probably be adding this one actually. Yeah, I was trying to think of a way to make, the case for Philly, but we talked about it last week. We were spot on, right? Like if you just look at the defensive numbers, right? People like to talk about how good they are and everything, but the numbers don't match. They just don't match, and they finally got exposed. It's not that Philly's a bad team; they're really good. They got a lot of talent, but Dallas is rolling right now. I agree. The 3.5 here. I think they're putting that up for a reason, right? This opened at 3. So there's definitely been, this is more smart money moving this over that hook for sure. So I agree with you. I find it, what's your lean here? I'm torn between that Bronco and Charger game. To me, it feels like it screams taking the Chargers, but
it screams for me to take the Chargers as well. I cannot get the Chargers game last week out of my head though. That offense was putrid. I mean, they covered for us. For me, the line was 5. They were horrible. It was 6-0. That was an awful football game. But then part of me just like, man, I just think Denver's better.
I don't disagree. Yeah, I agree with that.
Denver I don't know what Russ was doing. If that wasn't 4th down, he forced it in the game. They're right there to win the game again last week.
Yeah, see, I think Denver's better too, but it's like, why is they? Oh man, like that's the thing that just scared that game. It's like, why
it's a complete stay away from me. Like I where your head's at too. Like it makes sense to take the Chargers here, but then I'm like, and it's not a fandom thing either. It's just like I just think Denver's a better football team right now.
Sure.
But we'll see.
All right, I got one more.
All right.
Okay. You ready to plug your nose?
I got one more too.
Oh boy, I hope
that's not a nose play. I kind of hate my last play actually, but go
ahead. Giants plus 6.5. No, don't like it.
No, thanks. I'll listen to your explanation here right now, but there's
this to me is the biggest sell high spot on a football team ever. When this line opened, I was like shocked. I was like, wait, what? 6? Huh? Packers? What? Wait, this is the team that's been like getting 3 and 4 points like the whole season. And I've been backing this Packers team forever. Like they've probably been the nicest team for me against the spread this season, honestly. But I'm like, wait, you go from getting 3, 4, sometimes 6. Now you're laying 6.5? Nah. Oh, this to me says the books are going to need this game. It's a primetime solo game. We've talked about that before, how that happens. Look, Giants haven't gave up. The Giants haven't quit. DeVito's played okay. I think they're live here. I would not use Green Bay in survivors, period. I think this is sneaky play.
I'll cheer for you in this game. There is a 0.0 chance we're putting the Giants on our circuit card. But I will cheer. But to be fair, to your point, I'm not going to play the Packers at 6.5 either.
No.
I might be playing them in a teaser.
Yeah, you can play them in a teaser. And the thing too, when everyone talks about, all I've heard all week from the talking heads is all this Matt LaFleur and December stuff. Whenever I constantly hear the same people that know nothing about football say the same stat, nope, I'll go opposite. I'll just go opposite blindly. Give me the Giants. So, yeah.
All right.
Ugly.
Yeah, you weren't kidding. You went ugly. Here's another just kind of Circa has it at a lower line than I've seen some other places too.
Okay.
So I shouldn't do this. I'm going to do it. We'll see what you think about it. Maybe it'll make me feel better about it.
All right.
The Bears have been playing better.
Yep.
I saw the lines too. The odds were, I saw in DraftKings, it was like the line's 3.5 at -105, and the Bears were like -120 at 3.5 number. But then I saw Circa has it here at 3, and my bookie had it at 3 too. So I'm gonna take the Lions. I just think it's kind of they haven't been playing very well. And the Bears have been playing better. So it's just one of those reasons where it's like, all right, it's time for the Lions to get their shit back on track here, get back to run the ball, come just win this game, kind of figure out a way to do it and come cover this. It just seems like it's time for them to get themselves back right again. Because, look, they're better than the Bears. The Bears are playing better, all those reasons, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But they're just better.
Yeah.
So that's why I put them on the sheet, but I don't love it.
Yeah. I actually think this is interesting too. I think you're spot on, to be honest. I think this is a good time. This, to me, feels like kind of what I just said about Green Bay selling high. I feel it's a sell high on the Bears. I feel like it's a buy low on the Lions. Defensively, the Lions, right, they've had issues, but there's supposed to be some weather here this weekend. So I don't think you really are going to have to maybe worry about Fields' legs too much because of that, the weather implications. And I would say, to your point, Dan Campbell's going to have his boys ready this week, right? I feel like there's probably a sense of urgency, especially last time how this game went. The Lions scored 2 touchdowns in under 4 minutes to win against the Bears, right? So right. I think they'll have him ready. I think they'll want to get out early here. So I think this is actually a sneaky play.
And look, there's some seeding implications here for the Lions too.
Right.
You want to find a way to get into that.
Well, how about gagging the division?
Well, look, you lose this game here, and let's just say that Minnesota wins and Green Bay wins.
Yeah.
Now you gotta dogfight the rest of the way on that too.
And don't they play Minnesota twice yet?
That could be, but I know Green Bay's schedule is very light.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think they play, and I'm pretty sure I don't think they've played Minnesota once. I don't recall that game anyway, off the top of my head.
Jordan Walker gave me $200 in like August to put on Green Bay in the division. It pays like $1,400. It's sitting in the bottom of my DraftKings account right now. That was a throwaway about a month ago. That's starting to get – if that happens this weekend, that's got some life to it. It's got some juice.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, they get another win for sure. So, all right. I don't hate the Lions pick.
Well, it looks like we have a base to work with.
Yeah,
for our circuit plays anyway, and we'll explain how we got there on Saturday. Again, come out and see us on Saturday. We'll be at the Rebelton. Please go to. I don't want to mess any of the details up here too. They've done a good job of selling some stuff off. I mean, there's raffles from I think the Iowa Wild and all kinds of really cool stuff. I've seen. Yeah, here's up on the screen here too. Yeah. There's just one of the raffles going on. Is this one right here too? So it's gonna be a good time. Come out and see us. Come listen. We're just going to be doing a quick show there too, so we'll be around the whole time to shoot the shit with everybody. And again, we'll probably end up at the casino after. So come out and see us. It's for a great cause. And come meet Chris Spaghetti behind the scenes there too. I think he's going to come make an appearance. He's just okay. It'll be fun. But we'll recap our plays real quick here, and then we will hopefully see you all on Saturday. I have 7 plays for myself, and I believe 7 for you.
Okay.
I have the Rams +7 the hook, 49ers -10.5, Bills +1.5, Cowboys -3.5, Saints -5, and the Lions -3. And for you, I have Tampa +2, the Browns -3, the 49ers -10.5, the Panthers +5.5, the Raiders +3, the Bills +1.5, and the Giants +6, and the hook. All right. We're getting to it. It's playoff chase time. It's time for us to get a nice circuit week. We need a 4-1 or better. This is the week to do it. Got to get ugly and get in the trenches. Looking forward to it.
We need that ball to bounce our way.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's been going the other way. We've still been having winning records, but it's been going the other way. It's been frustrating.
We have the last month. We have literally teetered on 3 4-1 weeks. So it feels like we're due. Man, we've had some really good games. We lose a game by a half a point. Oh.
It's been the Titans. The Titans was gross last week. That was really, really gross. Yeah.
But it just showed we're making good plays, though. We're making good picks.
I still think we're on the right side of the Browns last week too. It just ended.
I would agree. I don't regret that pick at all. I don't regret it at all.
Yeah, it feels like we've gotten more of the bounces to make us lose a game instead of that bounce where we stole one.
Right. Correct.
We haven't had many of those.
No, not at all.
All right, you got anything else to add?
Nope, we're good, man.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. And again, come see us on Saturday. As always, I'm Ted E. Small. Cash that ticket.